All right, I am so thrilled that you are interested in this topic of how we can explore digital literacy to help our teachers, future teachers, support their students. So here's a text that I got from the internet. Hey, Facebook. As some of you may know, I'm Bill Gates. If you click on that share link, I will give you $5,000. I always deliver. I mean, I brought you Windows XP, right? Okay, how many of you have seen this before? Oh, you've seen it. And did you click on the link?
I did not.
Good for you. How many of you would click on that? Okay, nobody. That's funny. Okay.
We're not that old, so.
Okay, so this is kind of, you know that it's funny, but there are unfortunately recent examples of how online media text of disinformation could really have real life impacts. So the research that we did is the context of digital literacy. Last year, the Ontario government unveiled their new language curriculum from grade 1 to grade 12. And a primary element of that is digital literacy. So that is developing critical thinking skills and online awareness and tools so that students gain these important skills, because students who don't have this, or people in general who lack these basic online concepts, are high risk of falling for disinformation. And shockingly enough, in a recent survey, 84% of 18 to 24-year-olds reported that they find it really challenging to discern real news from fake news, which is becoming every day more difficult to do. And this is supported by, or is in line with, UNICEF findings in 2021, their report. They said that many children and adolescents also face this challenge. So as future teachers, educators at Niagara University, we were interested in knowing, would the findings be the same for university students? So we followed a study done in the US, undergraduate students, and they presented them with questions of their media consumption habits. And also they gave them a number of media texts to see if they were able to discern real from fake news. And guess what the results were? They were the same. We found it really challenging. So from our perspective, we wanted to know, would this also be the same finding for our teacher candidates at Niagara University in Ontario? So, and also in light of the new curriculum, we wanted to make sure, are they ready to support our learners? So our 3 questions informed by this research were really, how do teacher candidates perceive and use social media? 2, are they able to identify misinformation? But I'm going to leave this out from this presentation for really particular reasons. If you have any questions on that, I'm really excited to continue that conversation. And most importantly, were the implications of these findings for our future teachers. So it was a pilot study, and we developed our tests and methods and instruments, which we hope to continue. Involved in our study were 3 classes of 25 students, so in total 75 teacher candidates participated in the study. We had 7 questions about their media patterns or their media use. We had open-ended questions followed by the 4 media posts to evaluate and decide if they were true or fake, and followed by a Jamboard discussion. So after we had done the survey, we had the teacher candidates in groups, and on their Jamboard page, they answered open questions, and they did that as a group. So some of the research questions, just I've picked out a couple of significant ones and some of the findings. So the issue of fake news is important to me personally. Somewhat strongly agree. Are they important to you as a future teacher? Absolutely. So there's a great sense of importance to them. Asking them to identify what fake news is, you can see by the word cloud, they get it. So that's good to know. Do you consider yourself to be susceptible to fake news? Most of them thought, no, I got this. I'm pretty good at this. And then we asked them to click on the sources you typically click on to get news about government, politics, or current events. Surprisingly, City TV CP24 is high in use. I wondered, were our teacher candidates, did they have disappointment? I mean, it's just a newsreel, right? But I don't know. We need to explore that further in our next studies. TikTok and Instagram. That's where they mostly get their news. So we asked the open question, how do you evaluate whether a social media news item is real or fake? And then we cross-reference that with answer to the question, where do you get your news sources? So here is one, the qualifications and biases of the person who is giving the information. I'm not sure how they would know that if they're getting their information from TikTok and Instagram. I visit the profile of the person who posted the news story. If they seem to be a trustworthy account, I will believe the story. Again, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. How about this? I look at comments and discussion boards that provide proof to whether or not the news story is real or fake. So not the news item itself, but just the comment board from, random people. City TV, not sure you could even get that really. CNN, X, TikTok. Whether or not people around me confirm if it's true or not. Ouch. Snapchat, TikTok. So not even the news itself, but the conversations they have with their friends. This one is interesting. You would have to investigate both sides of the story without bias. You should assess yourself lest cognitive bias leads you away from the truth. You have to be willing to hear from diverse perspectives and then analyze and interpret your data for patterns, discrepancies, and anomalies. If you investigate sources directly, physically, you may find more credible information. Talking to people, organizations directly connected to the news story would be a great starting point when possible. Okay, I'm not sure this, sorry?
The researchers now.
Exactly, they're like flying over to those where these things are, okay, not very likely. And this sounds really grandiose and interesting, but they got the information from a blog. So what does this tell us? Oh, and then these are the posts, but I'm not going to go into them. I was not pleased with how they worked out. Some of the JAM board questions and key findings. So one of the questions was, and it seems a bit leading, but actually this was not the question that they answered. This is how information that they provided. So yes, there is a lot to learn, because things are changing quickly. They need to help students build skills. And as teachers, they need to incorporate information from lesson plans, workshops, collaborations, and helping students to avoid certain sites. And they found also that they have a tremendous responsibility in this. They want to get parents involved. They want to collaborate with other colleagues. They want workshops, etc. So analysis, very broad brushstrokes. The teacher candidates believe that they are capable of telling the difference between fake and untrue stories, even though they mostly consume untrustworthy sources of news. And the strategies that they describe to use, and I just gave you a snapshot of it, but this was very representative of things emerged from the data. They use strategies that are not in line with recommended approaches or recommended strategies because their news sources are not trustworthy. And this is concerning, of course. We should be concerned about this. And you all know, I don't need to let you know, but it needs to be known that the social media platforms, through the use of algorithms, which is how they work, they really promote sensationalism. That clickbait at the bottom, lose 20 pounds in one day following this diet. They trigger high emotions, of anger, of frustration, and capitalize on not our rational thinking. They limit exposure to varied viewpoints. As you know, if you type in Google, I believe that climate change is a hoax, all of the information you're going to receive is going to confirm that belief. And the same happens if you say climate change is a disaster and it's happening, you will get the same thing. So the siloed effect and confirmation of our beliefs. We also know that the information that is shared online in media platforms is not moderated. There is no editorial board saying that's not a good, true story. It's not edited, it's not verified, and also errors are not corrected, which editors of real news stories absolutely have to do. So if a reader writes in and says this is not correct, it has to be researched and it has to be rectified and announced in the next news story. So this is concerning, but we also saw that the teacher candidates are concerned about fake news personally and mostly professionally. They see their role in teaching this as being critical, and they would like to learn more. So there is a recognized desire to learn, grow, and this is really good. So the implications of this are positive. And of course, for us, as teacher educators of future teachers, our main role is to, provide awareness or bring about awareness, provide education, support their student teachers so they can take action on this. And we have more research to do because this was just our pilot study. If anyone is interested in helping us, I would like to continue this. So we are going to continue this very optimistically this fall. It didn't happen, but maybe next semester. So we're going to continue, and I've got a lot of different ideas, and these ones that I put together were from September, but I have new ideas. So this is what I'm looking for, collaboration with other universities. And then one thing that we have looked at is we want to create part of a course. I teach the professional seminar course. This is one of the topics that we study. And one of the things that our teacher candidates have been doing is working with Media Smarts. I don't know if you're aware of this resource. It is phenomenal. It has lesson plans. It has endless articles, and it's got videos, how you can work with this with students. And so we've been looking at this with our teacher candidates, and I would love to have them, instead of studying, I would love for them to talk about what they have learned and then try it with their their students when they're out on their placements to see if it has an effect. So I have a lot of ideas of how we can take this further. So looking for this, but this is an excellent place to start. And here are the references. And if you would like to continue the conversation, please let me know. I would